Very soulful altogether,
yes,
isn't it?
Indeed.
That was, of course, singer Joss Stone welcoming us back from the break with her new single, Walk With Me.
Now, at just 33 years old, Joss has already enjoyed a very successful career with over 15 million albums sold worldwide and over 1 billion streams in the United States alone. She's performed with the likes of James Brown, Stevie Wonder and Sting, and has a Grammy and 2 Brits Awards to top all of that off. What has she been doing with herself?
That's a pretty impressive CV, isn't it? And as if that wasn't enough, she's been thrilling TV audiences for the last number of weeks with her stunning performances, as of course Sausage on The Masked Singer, where she was crowned the winner on last Saturday night's final. And we are thrilled to welcome Joss Stone onto Ireland AM this morning. Joss,
morning.
Very good morning. It's early morning for you. It's about 5 in the morning stateside. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I am totally elated. I've got my little baby in the other room. So
You've got Violet. We
We
might get a look at her, hopefully. We'll keep everything crossed on that front. But tell us about the new single, first of all, Joss.
Tell us about Walk With Me, Joss. Why Walk With Me? Why now? Why that single?
So I've never put out just a single before. It's always been an album. And now I guess people do the single thing. Yeah. And it was a random song that we had. It's not part of a big project. But I just felt that it was kind of timely. So it started out as a romantic love song between, I don't know, just 2 people, I suppose. You know, walk with me down the aisle type of romance. And then life happened. You know, we had 2020. Some crazy things went on, and they're still going on. And I just felt like I needed to change the lyrics to make it more pertinent for that. So it's all about bringing people together and going through the madness together and not feeling like we're separate, you know, because we're not. We're just not. It's not real. So, yeah, I hope that it brings people a good feeling. That's the point of it. Fingers crossed it works.
I think it's a new departure for you, but it also feels like you, if that makes sense to you, because it still has that kind of soulful sense. Looking through the people that you've collaborated with, Joss, what an incredible career for such a young girl. Jeff Beck, Mick Jagger, Damian Marley, one of my favourites, Stevie Wonder. I mean, what an incredible career you've already had.
Yeah, I've been very lucky. I really have.
Who's the favourite?
It's funny when I hear you guys say it. You're like, you list the things that has happened, and I'm listening like, oh, wow.
That's me.
That did happen.
That's me they're talking about.
It's so cool. I'm like, oh. Because you forget, you do the moment, you kind of get through it. Usually you're very nervous in it. So you're like, oh, it's a bit of a whirlwind, and then you just forget. It's crazy. Mad life.
But those memories, I mean, working with the likes of Stevie Wonder, that's something that you take with you for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's these people, I know that they're just people, but when you're in it, you're like, oh, it feels somewhat godly. And because I've been listening to them for so long, I get a little bit starstruck in those moments. But yeah, they're just people making noises like I am, you know?
Exactly, and you have to remind yourself of that too, and you're there for good reason. Have you changed your music or the way you do it, the process behind it, based on those collaborations or those experiences, Joss?
Yeah, probably. I'd say so. Definitely working with Mick Jagger and Betty Wright and Dave Stewart. You know, these people I've been working with since I was really, really young. So, and they're very giving people. So I suppose when they come across like a little young buck that doesn't really know what she's doing and is flitting around the studio like a mad person, it inspires them to give me a bit of advice.
But I'd imagine that you will have learned something, even though you mightn't realise what you've learned. But just being around people like that, being around people who've been in the business so long and being so successful for so long, there's stuff that you'll take from that you'll put into your own career over the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, musically, for sure. And also the way that business works.
Yeah.
Because often I don't know what to do. I mean, I know how to sing, but I don't know how to do business. It's crazy. So you hope that somebody older and wiser will come along and say, oh, no, Josh, you shouldn't be taking that, or maybe you should do this, you know. Those are the things I need a bit of a steer on.
Well, speaking of crazy, Joss, there are children tuned in this morning who probably have seen you for the first time. There's a whole new generation of Joss Stone fans as a result of something that's just happened. So before we chat to you about The Masked Singer, let's take a look back at the moment you were announced the winner of the show's finale last Saturday night.
Who's behind the mask?
Take it off! 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 Take it off!
Yes, it's Joss Stone!
Oh my God!
Grammy and Brit Award winner, Joss Stone!
Hello, lovelies! Oh my gosh, man! He fooled us all.
I love it. The looks on their faces are just incredible. Joss, before we talk about that moment, talk to us about the phone call when somebody rang you and said, listen, we have an idea for a show. We're going to stick you in a sausage costume and you're going to walk around like that for about 11 weeks and people have to guess your identity. Did you think, are you taking the Michael here? Or, yeah, let me do that. Quick, where do I sign up?
I never laughed so much. So they asked me to do it, and I kind of had an idea on, you know, what the show was, but I think I misunderstood it a bit. So I thought that you got unmasked when they guessed you. I didn't know the premise of the show. Anyway, so they asked me to choose a costume, and the suggestions were like a fairy, or Robin, or, you know, like, there was a beautiful one, a seahorse, you know, these amazing, beautiful costumes. But I got it in my head that I just wanted to make everyone laugh. So that's what we went with, the sausage. And I tell you what, it made us laugh from the second we started talking about it to this moment. I'm still laughing, and I think it's made the nation laugh, which is the point.
And Joss, you were pregnant with Violet wearing that costume. So how did that work out?
Oh, it was so hard. It's very heavy. And I don't think I realised what it would be like to be pregnant. I've never been pregnant, so I didn't have like a and I didn't realise that it squashes your lung.
The pregnancy or the costume or both?
And I'm there waddling up going, oh God, I can't breathe. And I have to sing this song. It was just, everything about it was so silly.
And then that moment that we saw, Joss, where you were revealed, I mean, look, when you went into it, like, you clearly went into it with the right attitude. I'm going to go into this and have a laugh and, you know, the gig's a gig, that kind of thing. But you ended up winning it.
I know, imagine. I thought I was going to be unmasked way before that. It was so cool. I was like, oh, wow, this is getting exciting
And
now.
what did you think about the judges' guesses as to who you were? Because they thought you were Stacey Solomon and Sheridan Smith. What did you think of their guesses?
Well, I had to go home and listen to all these people because I'm terrible. I haven't got TV. So I was like saying to Cody, I was like, I hope that they're suggesting they're good singers. So I started like listening. And I tell you what compliments. Yeah. These women are amazing singers. So yeah, each time they guessed, I was like, please don't say someone terrible. Please don't say someone terrible. So I with the comparisons, thank goodness.
Well, I think you have your original fan base adoring the show and you as Sausage, but I do think you've generated a whole new generation of younger fans, which is lovely, and they'll follow your career from now on. Tell us about your podcast as well before we let you go back to bed, Joss. A Cup of Happy. Tell us about this.
A Cup of Happy. Okay, so I started that when lockdown began, and I think my friend makes podcasts, so he'd been waiting for me to have the time to do one. But it was really because, you know, my job of making people happy, which is something I do through singing normally, got taken away. You know, it was like, no, we can't do that anymore. We're not doing gigs anymore. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do my job? So I was talking to my friend Rich, and he said, well, we should do a podcast about happiness. and really, really delve into kind of the psychology of it, the science of it. So we speak to really interesting people, you know, clinical psychologists. We spoke to an illusionist, you know, Darren Brown. That was one of my first guests. Oh, he was amazing. And I've learned a lot, you know, how to really try to control your emotions and choose happy.
And you did spend some time in Dublin, Joss, didn't you? Do you think you'll come back to Dublin? You were here for the Tudors, weren't you?
Yes, we were. I was there for a few weeks in 2 different stints. So I got a bit of time in Dublin. It was great. Oh gosh, look at that picture.
I tell you what, you do like your costumes, don't you?
Oh, that's a blast from the past.
A blast from the past. Listen, Joss, thank you so much for getting up in the middle of the night to talk to us. Give Violet a big hug and a kiss from all of us here, and congratulations on her arrival, and congratulations on all your success. Stay safe, stay happy. We'll see you soon.
Bye, Joss. Thank you.
Bye.
Joss Stone's new single, Walk With Me, is available on all digital platforms.
And if you fancy watching her all over again in The Masked Singer, check out Virgin Media Player.